Time for another huge debate on Full-Time Devils. It's going to be quite a good one today. I always love these hypothetical debates. I think they're the best one. They conjure a lot of argument in the comments. Today we're talking about the January transfer window. Players we want to get rid of, players we want to bring in, and players that actually could come in as well. Joining me today, Statman Dave's here, Adam McKola's here, Abdullah's here too. How we doing, boys?
Well, good lad.
Yes, that's what I like to hear. Everyone ready for the debate. You guys voted for this topic, by the way, on YouTube and on the WhatsApp channel. Link for that in the description below. So let's get straight into it and talk about players that could potentially be leaving Manchester United in January, or players that these guys want to cash in on. Abdullah, let's start with you since we've not spoken to you for a while, mate.
Yeah. If I'm going to go out of the list that could be potentially leaving, I'd be looking at offloading the likes of Ashley Young, Valencia, Darmian, who seems out of favour, Phil Jones, definitely. I think those are the four that I'd be looking at out of the list. If the people I'd want to send out right now, because can't be any use towards those four, to be honest. And I think they've been really lucky to stick around this long. Obviously, Darmian's been professional with the fact that he's coming to training and he's there week in, week out, and obviously he's committed. But he's just clearly not a Mourinho's plan. So at the same time, I think he goes within that list that has to leave for me.
Okay, Abdullah, how much do you reckon you're making off all those guys? Because what we're going to do, the next section, we're going to talk about players that you want to sign. We're going to give you an £80 million budget plus whatever you sell the players for in this section. So how much money do you reckon you can make out of those for?
If I'm honest, I think Ashley Young potentially leaves on a free. Valencia as well. I think those are the type of players that might head over to the MLS or looking to retire in a couple of years. So I don't think we'll make any money out of them. Phil Jones, you might nip a bit out of him. Darmian, you might get 20 mil. A couple of those Italian sides are looking into him. So probably around 40 million, I'd say. I think that would be pretty realistic considering a couple of them might leave on a free.
40 million then. All right, we'll give you 40 mil. I'll write that down here. Adam, who would you want to get rid of if you could in January?
There's quite a lot of players I want to get rid of.
Don't say the manager.
United. But I'm a bit realistic as well in the fact that this is going to be January. So you look at the players that Abdullah mentioned, we may be able to recoup some money for Phil Jones. But who's going to want to take that risk of paying a transfer fee for Phil Jones when he's available on a free potentially in the summer? I don't think there's many teams that would want to do that. I think Ashley Young, like Abdullah said, he might go MLS or something like that. So again, you're waiting until after March, really, I think, is when their season ends, isn't it? I think that's around when the MLS ends. So you're waiting then until March until maybe he will go. So when you look at the players that are running out of contract and you're looking at the squad, I think there are players' contracts that we'd like to get signed up. And there's someone like Anthony Martial, I'd focus on giving him a contract. David De Gea, I'd focus on giving him a contract. Juan Mata, Ander Herrera. There's those players there that I'd focus on getting new contracts. But there's nobody that I'd really look to sell unless like big money come in, and I don't think money's going to come in. I know this is kind of like just, yeah, you can sell him if you want. But I don't think any of these players are going to get sold. I think, of course, if we put David De Gea up for sale, he might do that. So I don't think we'll be making any sales in January, and I haven't put any sales into my thinking for January. And I'll also say this, Manchester United's season is in a position where we're not playing for much. Let's be real here. We've got the Champions League and we've all got this we all dream of obviously hoping we do well in the Champions League. But realistically, the season's over. So what I would do if I was the manager, or if I was, not the manager, because the manager might not even be in a position to keep his job in the summer. So what I would do is I would keep most things there unless we get an offer we can't refuse, and give people an opportunity to, like, you're either gone or you keep in your place, or you can fight for your spot in this team. And then you see something with that 6 months where you can start to X players out of your team. Because at the moment, Manchester United have a squad that we need to get rid of the dead wood before we can start bringing players in. And I know that sounds weird by not letting anyone go in January, but no one's going to take any of these, trust me. Only the ones we want to keep. So,
well, Dave, like in a sort of, if we were a normal,
I've recouped.
If we were a normal football club that actually invested the money we made from transfers back into the actual side, the idea of certain players leaving wouldn't seem like horrific to us. Like, say if we were to get, this is going to sound like people are going to have a go at me here, but say if we were to get like 100 million for De Gea, which was actually going to be invested in the team and make it better as a whole, it would sound great. But we all know if we sold De Gea for 100 million, 50 mil might go back into the team. The rest of it's going who knows where.
But 100 million for David De Gea, you're not replacing David De Gea with 100 million pounds. You might have 100 million pounds, but what other goalkeeper is as good as David De Gea and available for that?
Yeah, but David De Gea is obviously like a 10 out of 10 goalie, and then we've got defenders in the team who are like 5 out of 10 defenders. So maybe you get rid of De Gea and get in a 8 out of 10 goalie, and then get in some 8 out of 10 defenders, and it makes the team better as a whole. You know what I'm saying?
Nowhere, by the way. No one who's going to sign David De Gea. Who's going to take him? You
Madrid?
Look at why they got
Courtois
he's not
Courtois and Keylor Navas. They're not going to get him. Spanish fans can't stand the sight of David De Gea at the moment, so that's working in our favour as well. David De Gea, I don't think David De Gea is going anywhere. I think he'll play hardball, and rightly so, because we should make him the highest paid player at the club, or one of them. But I can't see David De Gea leaving Manchester. Who can afford him, and who can fit him into their team?
The problem is, mate, I just cannot...
A team that ticks both those boxes.
Mate, we've gone too long now without winning titles and without being up there at the top. And it's too long for the top goalkeeper in the world to be spending at Manchester United, in my opinion. What?
Where's he going? Where's it? Barcelona?
Any of the top clubs in the world could just turn around and want him one summer very easily.
What, who, guys? I'm asking you.
Any of them.
What, who?
Any of the top clubs in Europe. Barca, Madrid, Bayern, any of them.
Said that. Bayern, what? Why is he going to go to the German league?
Why would he want to stay at United if we're not finishing in the top 4?
Bayern Munich ain't even top of the league, and it's a one-team league.
Yeah, but why would he want to stay at United when we're not even in the top 4? But David De Gea doesn't want to be playing in the Europa League next year.
United are the only club in the world that are stupid enough to give him a 400, 500 grand contract. That's
Statman.
And also because he's got nowhere else to go, guys.
Statman, we've essentially trapped David De Gea in Manchester. I like it. Statman, who are you getting rid of? Are you selling Dave?
You and Dad, he's ours forever.
I'm not selling Dave, no. I don't think as a club, Man United, where they want to be, you don't sell your best players, and David De Gea is United's best player at the moment, so you just don't sell him.
We might not have any choice.
If you want to compete, you need to keep players like David De Gea, full stop. That's kind of what you got to do. But in terms of other guys that you want to, that could go in January, there's a lot of contract negotiations with all different players. The only two that I can realistically see going was what Abdul sort of said, Darmian and Phil Jones potentially. But you're not going to get a lot of money for that. If their contracts are expiring in 6 months, it's dangerous for a club to come in and invest a bit of cash in someone like Phil Jones that is a little bit injury prone, that has those problems, that he'll get a run of games and then he'll pull out with a knock or whatever. Maybe it'll suit him playing only one game a week. A mid-table team could be quite good for Phil Jones, but they're the only two guys. You're not letting David De Gea go. That would be absolutely stupid. I don't think you should let Herrera go, Juan Mata go. Mourinho's not going to let Young or Valencia go in January. Maybe they need to be replaced in the summer, but January seems like a very strange moment to, let two very senior players in the squad go who have captained United over Mourinho's tenure. So quite frankly, they're not leaving. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think only two players potentially going out, and it's not going to bring in that much money. So I think it's all about the budget that you've already got for January, spending in January. The money that was available in the summer, apparently, to buy a centre-half is still there. So that's the money you're going to be using. But apart from that, I can't see anyone else leaving Manchester United. Definitely not David De Gea.
Just being aware that I am playing devil's advocate a little bit in this debate. And also, later on, I am going to decide who wins the debate. Devil. So if you don't watch your song, McKola, you are not winning this debate, I'm afraid. And in fact, to be honest...
come from the devil.
In fact, I like McKola and Dave's realism, but I like the idea that Abdullah's had, where he's basically listed all the players who aren't good enough and just said, yeah, let's get rid of them. What's the worst that could happen? Even if we don't replace them, let's just throw a load of kids in there from the academy.
I'm well aware of who runs our club.
Yeah.
And who I support.
It's not going to happen, is it? Right, just telling you how much you've all got to spend in the next section then. Dave and Adam both said that they're not getting rid of anyone, correct?
No, I'm getting rid of Darmian and Jones.
Darmian and Jones, how much are you making off that?
20 million.
20 million. All right.
You've potentially play some friendlies or something like that as well.
I actually think if we did find a buyer for Phil Jones, we could recoup our money, but we won't.
Right, going on to the next section then. This is about players we want to bring in. This is the exciting bit. You've all got a transfer budget. Or should I say that Dave and Adam... getting confused here. Dave has a transfer budget of 100 million. Adam has a transfer budget of 80 million. And Abdullah has 120 million in this dream scenario. So Max, since you've got the least amount, let's start with you. Where are you putting your 80 million in the January transfer window? It's Football Manager, you can do anything.
I hate January transfer markets and I hate January transfer windows. And just like Fergie blagged us for years with the Glazer covering phrase, no value in the market, is how I look at
People
this January transfer market. I would put in a 60 million pound bid for Toby Alderweireld, get him. Is apparently available for 25-30 million in the summer. How true that is, I don't really know, but it's something that keeps getting said in the press and in everything that you read about Toby Alderweireld. So if that is true, then surely they'd take double the money 6 months earlier, surely. And then if we can get in an experienced player like that, who would be able to use that 6 months to settle into Manchester United, not into the Premier League, and then we have almost a brand new signing ready to go from pre-season next summer. I wouldn't make any other signings at all. Again, for the same reason that there's so many players at Manchester United at the moment that you don't know whether they're going to be here in 6 months or not. There's a manager that you don't know whether he's going to be here in 6 months or not. So I wouldn't be going around spending all of our money on players that we don't know whether the next manager is going to want. I think a next manager would, and Jose Mourinho, by the way, would 100% want a centre-half like Alderweireld. I think Jose clearly wanted that in the summer and he never got it. So I would bring that in because I know there's no danger of that becoming almost a signing that we don't need anymore. I'm worried that Manchester United will keep making these signings that in 6 months you look at them and think, oh, God, why did we even buy that dude? He's absolute rubbish. And there's a few players at the club at the moment that, guys, you're going to bring Sanchez into this, yeah. But Sanchez is a good example of why I'm doing this with Alderweireld. Sanchez is the right player, signed for the wrong reasons at the wrong time.
Yeah, that was it. We shouldn't have signed him in January.
Those are facts. And we cannot do that with any more signings. We seem to do it far too often. Sanchez is an incredible player. We're just not getting the best out of him. And that's because we've got players in his position, players that it's just a mess. We signed him for the wrong reasons. And that's why it's not worked at United.
Okay. Well,
I disagree with that. Sanchez is one of our best players, and we've just not settled him into the team. It's indicative of everything. We could sign Messi. We could sign Messi, and Messi would look shit, bro.
I'm not too sure about that, pal.
No. These are facts. Messi would look shit in United's team.
You've got a spare 20 mil, McKola. What are you spending it on?
A Messi shirt.
I'll give me a free season ticket for next season.
Dave, you've got 100 million to spend. What are you doing with it?
I think I'm going to Amsterdam with my 100 million. I'm just going to chill in Amsterdam for a bit. 100 million.
100 million? It's only 50
do
quid
what
a
you
go.
do. And I think looking at United, again, I completely agree with what Mac's saying, that the signing of someone like Alexis Sanchez sums everything up, where, again, he's not been put into the team. He's played on the left-hand side, right-hand side as a striker, as a number 10. Like, you've got to give this guy a position and play him there week in, week out so he can start to feel his teammates out and X, Y, and Z. I think the scattergun approach has got to go. I think Toby Alderweireld falls into that scattergun approach category, unfortunately. He's available in the summer for 25, 30 million, like Adam's saying, but that's kind of like, is that forcing United's hand to go after someone like that?
So you don't think he's actually good enough? You don't think he's a player that...
I think he's a good player, don't get me wrong. He's a very good Premier League player. But you look at him in the Champions League, sometimes he doesn't cut the mustard. And I think that's the problem with Man United, is that they're looking at these players that are available, that are free to go. Like, God, you should have, if you want someone like Toby Alderweireld, why not get Koulibaly? Why not just go, right, well, let's give Napoli 100 million for Koulibaly. Koulibaly is miles ahead of Toby Alderweireld in terms of centre-halves in Europe right now. I'd put Koulibaly in the top 5. Toby Alderweireld isn't getting near that list. And that's the interesting side, that if you're going to go for big, going to go for expensive, why not just go to Napoli and sign a defender that not only is commanding, not only is physical, dominant in the air, is brilliant at bringing the ball out of the back, and he can pass. Like, he is the complete player. But I wouldn't do that either. like I'm saying, we're in Amsterdam. We're sitting in one of the coffee shops and we're thinking, look, right, what do we do for Manchester United? We need to move this side on. We need to continue to invest in young players. That's exactly what I'd do. I'd go and sign De Ligt and I'd go and pick up Frankie de Jong. If United want to be progressive and want to play good football, they need to start buying players of that ilk. And having a director of football that potentially should be a big January signing as well is where United have got to go. They've got to look at someone like De Ligt that over the international break had both Mbappe and Timo Werner, two of the best young attackers in world football, pretty much in his back pocket. Not only that, but he can bring the ball out of the back. He's calm, he's collected, he's an Ajax player, plays with the ball at his feet, he's composed, 92% pass accuracy this season in their Eredivisie. And I think that's the type of centre-half United need. 19 years old, that can be at United for 10 years. That's a proper signing. That's a signing like you know what you're doing. You're like, bang, we're going to put that money into a young player. We're going to give him the time. You look at when he played against United in the Europa League final, 17, had reservations about his size, had reservations about his physicality. You look 2 years later, the guy's a unit now. You're thinking that is what you want in your centre-half. You want a complete player. And that's the same thing with Frankie de Jong. A player that's so comfortable on the ball that it's so nice to watch him. Compare it to some of the times when you see Fellaini deep in midfield. God, I love Fellaini as a target man, but seeing him deep in midfield, you're like, God, what are you doing on the ball? Frankie de Jong, so calm, lots of touches on the ball, manipulates it to move people around. I was watching AEK Athens versus Ajax a few days ago. One of the things that he was doing there very well was driving out of defence, drawing players in, and then being able to switch the play and switching the point of the attack. Something that United just lack is someone to pick the ball out of the back, from midfield, drop in, pick up the ball, carry it up, draw someone in and then play it. Then you open up a situation where you can create an overload. And it's like, these two players make sense to signings for any club in the world. Why are Barcelona going to try buying both of them? Because they're two very talented young players that need to be bought. And as United, that's what you should be doing. Instead of having this, Toby Alderweireld, Alexis Sanchez, Pogba, the one over there as well. You need to be like, collectively, we need an idea of what we're doing. And these two players would bring some sort of idea.
Dave, you had me at Koulibaly at first, and then you started talking about two young kids, and I just think that would be too much of a risk for Manchester United at the moment.
There you go, guys.
To bring in kids, because they come in, and then if they're not necessarily performing at the level that they're expected to, then we need to be patient with them, which is what you should be with young players, but we need people to be performing now.
So there's the problem. Why do we need to be performing now?
We haven't got a manager that's got that patience.
Again, as a club, why do we need to be performing now?
Because we need to be better than where we are now.
That is the history of Man United, is young players that have been improved at the club that come through, whether it's the Busby Babes or whether it's Fergie's fledglings. That's what United do.
Dave, but you suggested that we get rid of Mourinho then? Because
this isn't a Mourinho debate. Come on, we're not talking about...
No, I'm asking Dave, man.
What I'm saying is that there needs to be a direction at the club. A direction with signing players is the big thing. Whatever coach you've got, you need a direction when you're signing players.
As a implement that in a January though,
but then this is what whether you've spent 100 million in January and De Ligt and De Jong are joining United in January or in the summer, which would be more likely. That's kind of the game that you've got to plan. That's planning. I'm doing some planning moves here. I've signed them in January and they're coming in the summer. We're dealing with Smalling and whoever at centre half until then. We're dealing with Matic and Fellaini in midfield, but when the summer comes, like you're saying, Adam, you've already done the business. We're already in that position where we know that these two young players have come in that are unbelievably talented and would change Manchester United's football.
I'm just a bit worried that in 6 months' time, people look at them two players already and just think, look at these two dicks, fed up of them already, can't stand them, they're awful. This is what just happens at United. No one would have said 6 months ago United fans would hate the sight of Alexis Sanchez.
I don't.
They do?
I agree with what Adam's saying a little bit, to be honest, about it being a little bit too much of a risk. Abdullah, you've got 120 million to spend, the most out of anyone here. Where are you putting it? You've got a lot of players to replace as well.
Yeah, for me, I'd 100% go for Koulibaly first. I think he's had 3 solid seasons now at Napoli where he's impressed me every single season. He's come up against the best attackers in Serie A, and he's done brilliantly in the Champions League this season. I think that's a sensible signing that he can buy a complete centre-back that any manager can walk in after Jose Mourinho and say, all right, this is my main defender. We're going to build a back line around him, and I think that would make sense to bring him in. I don't know how much Napoli are going to let him go for. If you look at the market now, someone who's probably in the top 3, top 4 defenders in world football right now, in my opinion, going off his performance this season especially. I think it's going to cost us a minimum of £80 million. So it's going to be a difficult one. I'd say De Jong as well, Frankie De Jong. Now, the difference is between the likes of Memphis that have come in and even Martial, which thankfully, because of the talent he has, even under what Mourinho has restricted him to at times, I think he's been able to get out of that situation. I think those are sort of playmaking wingers that sort of require confidence. The difference with someone like De Jong, I don't think we've really found a young player like him who's composed in midfield, who understands the game. We've seen him do it for the Dutch side against sides like Germany the other day. I think he's an absolutely brilliant talent, and if he steps in ahead of Mike or Fellaini, I think our midfield completely changes. Now, I understand we've got the likes of Pereira, Fred, but as a number 6, there's a pure sort of Michael Carrick role. I don't think we have anyone at the club in that role, and I think Frankie De Jong can come in and do that, and I'm really missing that sort of spine in the team. Someone like De Ligt can come in as well, but I think Koulibaly won't be too much of a gamble, and I think I'd mainly go for him and Frankie De Jong.
So 80 mil on Koulibaly, and shall we say 40 on De Jong?
Yeah.
Does that sound realistic?
Abdul, you're better than Daniel Levy at transfers, mate. Sign you up.
Well, look, this is a hypothetical debate, so there is a little bit of leeway here, but I'll be totally honest.
Well, the idea, because this is a debate, I've got to weigh in here. Apparently, Napoli rejected a £90 million bid from Manchester United. That's been reported in the press. So Abdul's playing the game here. 80 million. What are you giving him,
Abdullah? Ask him what paper. Ask him what paper, Abdullah.
Hey, the press know nothing, mate.
We're giving him 80 million and Smalling and Jones, sod it. No, but I do like the idea of us just
60 million we're giving him.
I do completely love the idea of us just shipping off a load of our centre halves, because I think we've got a load of rubbish ones, and having Koulibaly, De Jong, and even Lindelof there as well as part of like your main defenders. I like the idea of that. Someone young with someone experienced who has been performing in the last few seasons for Napoli, as you guys have said. Right, on the way next, we're going to talk about actual real life things that could potentially actually happen. So transfers that the guys could actually see happening. That's all on the way next after this break. Okay, back to it then. January transfer window, that is the debate today. And right now it's time to get back in the real world. We've all been essentially playing Football Manager throughout this debate, deciding which players we'd want to leave and deciding which players we want to bring in. But of course we know that what we want isn't necessarily what we always get at Manchester United. So a little bit of realism in this section. Players that we can actually see going that maybe we don't even want to, and players arriving that we could see happening. I'm not going to start with McKola. I know he's going to be dead negative. Abdullah, let's start with you. You're going to tell me that Martial's leaving and De Gea's leaving because the 8 are here, and that's definitely happening. So Abdullah, you tell me what's happening. Who's going? Who's arriving in January?
If we're going to be realistic and obviously going off what might happen, I think we might see the likes of maybe Mata or even Herrera walk away. And that's going to hurt, obviously, because I think some of those players should be the experienced players that we go ahead with. Unfortunately, that's what I can see happening if we're going to be realistic. And I don't know, especially with Herrera, it's just a bit weird because I think he should be in the side week in, week out. I think he should be, whether coming off the bench or starting, he should have a bigger influence than the likes of Matic this season. And I think he's good enough to mould into a number 6 and start ahead of Matic, and I still don't understand why that's not happening. I think the fact that he's got such a connection with the club and he wants to prove himself is the fact that I think he got past this summer and he stayed longer. But I can see Herrera leaving, to be honest, if we're going to be realistic. Ashley Young, I can see leaving. I think a next manager might walk in the summer. I can see Mourinho definitely leaving, so I doubt they're going to keep Ashley Young. You just can't keep him for another season. Valencia, another one. So I'd go Herrera, Valencia, Ashley Young, Phil Jones, even though I don't know who the hell's going to pay for his contract, because he could just sit out for another 2 seasons because no one's going to pay the same amount that we're paying him week in, week out, because he's absolutely trash. So, yeah, probably add Phil Jones to that list, but I just can't see anyone pay for his contract. So we'll go ahead with it anyways. I'd say Phil Jones, Ashley Young, Valencia and Herrera, unfortunately.
I think still living in dream world a little bit. Phil Jones and Ashley Young. I honestly don't think we're going to be getting rid. I'm not too sure, to be honest.
I think Mourinho's leaving.
I use that on. We've tried all these years to get rid of half of these guys, and now all of a sudden in January, you're expecting them to pop off. No chance of they going anywhere. Smalling's still going to be here. Phil Jones, Ashley Young, Antonio Valencia. They're the only things that would survive a nuclear bomb.
Them and cockroaches.
Nowhere.
We've got to be positive, Adam. To be honest, Phil Jones.
This is the part where we're realistic, Abdullah.
All right. So if I'm gonna go most realistic, it's probably gonna be Phil Jones. If we're just gonna go with one, because he's not in the side.
He's
What's he doing in the side? What is he doing? He's not starting. All right. Where can you see him step in? I can see Rojo stepping ahead of him. I can see Bailly stepping ahead of him.
Right. Well, you've said a name there, though. You've said a name there, though. I think you're saying Phil Jones because you want him to go, but Eric Bailly probably has more chance of leaving in January than Phil Jones does.
And that, my friends, is where the problem lies.
Yeah.
Exactly. To be honest, when I was saying Ashley Young, I was saying more Summer, to be honest, because I went off topic a bit. But again, I just think the biggest chance is probably Herrera. I don't know. It'd have to be. I think we're going to lose one of our centre backs. Because I think 2 or 3 of the ones that are getting paid a high wage at United right now are not playing enough. Yeah. So you're looking at Rojo, Jones. Those are the 2 that I might be looking at. Eric Bailly, I feel like some of those transfers aren't going to happen because people at the club around Mourinho won't allow them. I think the reason Martial and Pogba were sort of held back and probably had a chat with someone and had a bit of a settle down, especially Martial. I think someone like Ed Woodward's probably he knows that these guys have a future ahead of Mourinho. So, again, Eric Bailly, I can't see him leaving. Obviously, Mourinho might want him out, but I just feel like the people around the club, the structure that we're trying to build, it looks like nothing's trying to be built, but I just can't see Eric Bailly leaving. So, I'd say it'll be probably a toss-up between Rojo, Phil Jones, but Herrera's the one I worry about, honestly, because he'll be gone for free in the summer. So, financially, you'd want to sell him. What's he going to do for 6 months if he's just going to constantly be on the bench? If you got to look at it. So Herrera wouldn't shock me leaving, unfortunately, and I think he can be a big part of the team going towards the end of the season and trying to recoup any sort of trophy.
Good points there, Abdullah. By the way, just full disclosure, we don't know what's going on with Skype at the minute, so if the quality's a little bit rubbish, it looks like we're being filmed on a potato. We apologise sincerely. You can still hear us. That's the main thing.
Abdullah's being held hostage at the moment. Sorry, guys.
Abdullah mentioned a few players then. Oh, he mentioned one player in particular that is considered a little bit of a fan favourite, Herrera, a player that we wouldn't necessarily be happy to see go in January. Could you see any players that we all love and don't want to go anywhere actually leaving the club in Jan?
Not in January, no. I don't think the club, like with Ander Herrera, Juan Mata, those kind of players, I think the club would rather try and keep them to longer contracts than sell them in January. Like, I think they'd rather use that 6 months to try and tie them down to new deals. So I can't see us letting them go. Of course, the fact that they haven't already signed new deals may already mean that their plans already set in their head, and in the summer they want to go back to Spain, or they want to go here, or they want to go there, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Juan Mata has spoken about going back to Spain in the past. Ander Herrera has been linked with a lot of moves to Spain. So it's a move that wouldn't surprise me at all. But I don't think we'll let anybody go. Like I said, I think there could be 1 or 2, like a Darmian or something. But I think we're going to see largely the same squad head into the summer, maybe with an addition. Maybe 1 player leaves. But I can't see there being many players going out.
Well, you said maybe an addition. Give me a name that you could see happening in January then.
In?
Yeah, in.
I already told you.
What, you could actually see
I've been
happening?
Being realistic all day, so me switching to my realistic mode now, I'm being realistic from the whole start. So for me, I don't think we're going to sell anybody, and I don't think we're going to sign anybody, but just because of this debate, I thought let's just throw a name into it. I genuinely don't think we'll get anybody this January. The club is a shambles, lads. It's time that we all accepted it.
This is what I said about the negativity. I can't do it anymore.
Negativity, man. Like, look, people say I get on Jose Mourinho's case.
You're right. You're right.
So, but also, you got to look at the people that are running this club. They're absolute fucking clowns. They couldn't find their arsehole with both hands. They're absolute idiots. Swear to God. So we're relying on them to sign players and renew contracts and do this and do that. Give us a break. They couldn't even sort themselves. We need to get someone in first. That would be the best January signing. Someone that has a clue how to run things on the football side and can go in there alongside Ed Woodward and slap him into shape.
See, that's a positive sort of message, though. You could have said that. I'm just speaking for all the people in the comments that are going to say, Adam's always moaning. Dave.
People say, Adam's got an agenda, yeah. How can I have an agenda? Manchester United have minus goal difference. We're sitting mid-table. What are we playing for? Agenda. You like watch United or what? Agenda, my arse.
Statman,
Shut up, Abdullah.
We've all heard Adam's agenda. What's yours?
Yeah, I'm pretty sick of Adam's agenda. He's been finding on about Anthony Martial getting some game time all season, and when he finally plays, he scores goals, and then we think, God damn that agenda, Mac.
Stupid agenda.
Ander Herrera should stay, by the way, but...
Yeah, Ander Herrera should definitely stay. I think Matteo Darmian would be the only one that I can see leaving, if we're going to be realistic, and I can't see Man United bringing anyone in. I think the targets of Toby Alderweireld, I think you want to go back to sign Harry Maguire. He's not going to be leaving Leicester City at the moment. Koulibaly, as we mentioned, what, you're going to pay 120 million for him in January. That's why my whole part of my debate, guys, was we should make the moves now in January for the summer. And ultimately, that's probably why I should win the debate. I'm not being negative like Mac. I'm in that middle ground. They're clever, looking about football formations and how Man United should play going forward.
Those are just a bunch of dots on a sheet. You're not lying to anyone here.
He's put some dots on a piece of paper.
Lines with arrows.
He doesn't even know what that means.
He's revolutionary. What was Mourinho's quotes? Like, people who analyse stats don't understand football or something like that?
The one man on this channel that's been backing him all year.
And he turns round and retires him.
He's had enough of picking on Anthony Martial and all these guys. Is like, who loves me the most?
Statman Dave, let's go for him. Right, guys, we need to move on. We've got the 30-second round. I want you to sum up what you've been arguing in today's debate and tell me why your argument is correct. Statman was getting quite sassy then, so we're going to start with you. 30 seconds. Tell me why signing a bunch of unproven kids is perfect for Manchester United at the minute. Dave, go!
These kids aren't unproven, guys. These are two of the best young players in world football. Manchester United statistically has one of the youngest squads in the Premier League. So signing more talented young players eventually will bring through another golden generation where Man United can go on to win 20 league titles in a row. Mac is being far too upsetting today, and poor old Abdul doesn't know the value of money. And that's why, guys, standing close to lit, and of course Frankie de Jong is the reason why I win the debate today.
You know what? You've done that in 26 seconds. Right, that was decent. Abdullah, you need to come back at that now. He's telling you don't understand the value of money. How much did you say you were going to get for Phil Jones again?
I said we'll probably get
40 million for Darmian Jones.
Yeah, but have you seen the pound at the minute?
All right, yeah, fair enough. Right, Abdullah, 30 seconds.
40 million pounds going to be worth £6 in January.
£6.
Get two Freddos with that. Right, Abdullah, you've got 30 seconds now. Tell me why your arguments are the best in today's debate. Go.
Dave said I didn't understand the value of money, and I don't know what Adam was on about, but he's saying that if we don't understand the value of money, then why are we keeping Herrera? Why would the club think of keeping Herrera? Obviously, I want him to stay, but he's going to go for free in the summer, so I can't see Herrera leaving. That is a realistic player leaving. Darmian can go under that list. For me, Herrera, Darmian, if we're going to go with two ahead of them, and I think that's a fair argument because some of those players are going to leave for free in the summer and you can get some value for them in January. I'm not saying that I want them to leave.
We are
some value with them.
Up. I like it. I can see where you're thinking as well. It makes sense with the players' contracts running out, obviously making some money. McKola, 30 seconds. Tell me why what you've argued today is the best way for us to go. Tell me. Go.
I don't know if it's the best way for us to go, but I am right. I am absolutely right. We will sign nobody in January. Maybe someone like Toby Alderweireld. And we'll sell no one in January. I don't think you guys noticed. Last time was a summer transfer window. We had years to prepare for that. And we didn't bring anybody in apart from a third choice goalkeeper from Stoke. And whoever else. We've got Fred, who doesn't play. And Diogo Dalot, who also doesn't play. So I don't know what you guys have been watching. But we're not bringing anybody in.
And we're up. Right, you know what? If we were judging today's debate on the realism side of things, I would give it to Adam because I do agree with that. I don't think we are going to do anything in January. Don't think we very rarely actually do. And Abdullah, I like Abdullah's points about the fantasy element of it, about the players he'd like to get rid of and bring in.
Going down somewhere where a white man wins again, isn't it, guys?
Dave has made some good points. However, I don't think bringing in experienced defenders is a good move from where Manchester United are at the moment. And
that's why you're the director of football at Manchester United.
One player I would absolutely love to come in is Koulibaly, and to put him alongside one of those young defenders would be a great idea. So for the fancy element of it, I'm giving it to Abdullah today. Guys, you can vote for who you think is the winner on today's debate on the section above there. Get in the comments as well. Tell me why you disagree. Hey, he's really good on my FIFA career mode, mate. So get in the comments below. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why we're right. And we'll catch you next time. WhatsApp channel as well. Brand new. Link in the description below. Get on that. And yes, by the way, we are still working at that Adidas sponsorship deal. If you want to hear more from these guys on the debate today, you can do. They've all got their own specific YouTube channels. And in particular, go and check out Abdullah's because he did win today's debate, of course, so therefore knows the most about football. So go and check out his YouTube channel. It talks a lot of sense. Right, we'll catch you next time. Links in the description, by the way, for those channels below. See you there. Laters.